So here are the top tips on how to create an effective homepage influencer homepage design. First off, the design must be aligned with the funnel strategy. We have touched on this lightly in the previous videos. We need to identify how exactly we want the reader to enter the world of the influencer. Is it through subscribing to the podcast, or is it through first reading the blog articles, and then from inside the blog article we invite them to sign up to our list? Or we just straight up ask them, hey, we have a really nice lead magnet here, you might want to download it, give us your email and name, and you can download it from this one. So it has to be aligned with the funnel strategy. Another thing to remember is that the design must resonate with the end user or the target audience. So one common mistake, and it's very easy to make, is to design according to the preference of the influencer. While that is, of course, something that we need to follow, that must not be the primary basis. Ultimately, who we are serving here and what would resonate with them should be the priority of the design. So if the influencer, let's say, is male, but he's actually primarily catering to a female audience, then that must be reflected in the design, right? Or if the influencer is female, but she is actually trying to get clients that are more like tech, Silicon Valley tech entrepreneur types, then again, that must be reflected in the design. So while it is important to take into consideration the personal preference of the influencer, that must not be the primary basis. The design must communicate a compelling value proposition. What that means is that we need to identify, or we need to extract from the influencer what exactly makes them different. What exactly is the main benefit that they offer to the reader or to the user, and the design must reflect that. The design must be optimized for multiple devices. Very self-explanatory. And there should be a hierarchy of call to actions. So we need to understand and communicate what is the primary call to actions and what is the primary and what is the secondary call to action. So before you start, you need to clarify what we want the users to do exactly. What we want them to do first, right? And then what is next, and then what is next. Okay, so that doesn't have anything. So that has to be clarified first before we even do the design. So that should be reflected in the wireframe, for example. No element must make the user burn extra calories unnecessarily. What that means is, if we can avoid it, we should make everything super simple, super easy to figure out, right? The fact of the matter is, we human beings are cognitive misers. So the design must cater to that. We don't want to think too hard about something. So it should be simple. Everything should be figure outable. When users expect something to be on the left, it should be on the left. When users expect something to be underlined or to appear a certain way, then it should appear that way. We need to eliminate the fluff. On home pages, it's very common to put everything there, right? Like, okay, because the influencer has 15 products, we need to put a link to each product from the home page. No, not necessarily. If the influencer has like 5 services that they offer, it doesn't necessarily mean straight away that we need to put all those 5 services on the homepage. It could be that we put an entry point to those 5 services, but not necessarily all 5 should be on the homepage. So yeah, there has to be a sort of a design for the journey that we want the users to take. The first step, and then the second step, and then the third step, and then the fourth step. Those needs to be strategized, and then the homepage should reflect that strategy. Now, there are self-assessment questions that you could ask yourself when you're evaluating the effectiveness of the homepage. One very seemingly little thing, but very important, is it readable? So it must be scannable. The readers should be encouraged to scroll, and you need to avoid using too many different fonts because it just ends up looking too cluttered and all over the place if we use too many different fonts. Another important thing is to make sure that you provide clear and easy route to whatever the point the user wants to get to in the site. So because it is a home page, the homepage should be designed so that regardless of what the reader's goal is, that is, and it could be anything, right? It could be to read the blog. It could be to contact the influencer. It could be that they want a specific content about a specific topic. It could be that they want to find out more about the influencer, so they're looking for the about page, right? The homepage should be designed so that all those things are easy to figure out. So regardless of whether the reader has been to that page before or not, the design must make sense so that the reader can easily figure out a route to that information. And another important thing is, does it build trust? When you build a homepage, one of the main things that it needs to fulfill is to create trust in the influencer, right? And that involves social proof. So the homepage, it's very important for it to have social proof. Another thing that you can ask to make a homepage more effective is, what elements can we take away without weakening the page's impact? So if you look at a particular section and you ask yourself, if I take this away, will it weaken the impact of the page? If the answer is no, then you're probably better off taking out that section, because that tends to mean that you're just overcomplicating the page. Another one is that you can ask yourself is, do the images make sense or add value or amplify the message? This is a very, very common mistake, very easy to do, is that for the sake of having an image there, we put an image there. And the designers, although they're trained on this and they're improving here, for the project managers, if you're a project manager, you need to always evaluate the images, and from your perspective, ask yourself, is this amplifying the message? Is this reinforcing what the copy is saying? Because if it's not, then we're just creating visual bloat. So one of the things that you need to recognize when evaluating the design is, are we just putting clutter here? Are we just putting unnecessary elements here? Are we just putting things here for the sake of having it, but it's actually not contributing to the primary goal, nor to the secondary goal? So if those things are indeed there, then we need to solve those problems. So those are my top tips. On the next video, I will discuss what elements should be on the homepage.